No matter how well you've designed and built your DataFactory pipeline, your pipeline will still break. Now, in order to make sure that you can fix your pipeline on time, you want to be notified immediately when a pipeline fails. And one of the best things to do that is to set up an email alert using Log Analytics workspace in combination with Azure Data Factory. Hi all, I am Riz Ang and I build Azure Data Platform. If you like videos about data engineering, Microsoft Azure, or both, then you are in the right place. Before we start with the demo, I'd like to mention an alert that you can set within Data Factory that is actually simpler, but it's only confined within Azure Data Factory and not more. And if that's what you're interested in, you might want to check my other video that I'll put at a link at the top here. And the video that I'm going to show today is basically triggering alert, not just from within Azure Data Factory, but from Azure Monitor. The first step to do that is to set the diagnostic log settings for Data Factory. And to do that, within Azure Data Factory here, we've got some pipelines already set up that will fail. I will come back to that. And I have this Azure portal, and I have my Azure Log Analytics workspace already created here. See the first top two here, my recent resources. Now, the easiest way to do this is if you go to the Data Factory resource, you click down here, left in the monitoring part, diagnostic settings. You will see a list of items here at the bottom, ActivityRuns, PipelineRuns, so on and so forth. What you want to do is you want to add diagnostic setting, and the purpose is basically you want to send the logs of ADF into this workspace, Log Analytics workspace. And I'm just going to name it ADF Diagnostic, and I'm interested in just these top three and maybe the metrics. The remaining here, they are for SSIS, and yeah, I'm not sure about the sandbox, never really saw that use. And for the destination where you want these ADF logs get sent is you get to choose a number of things. But what I'm going to show you today is for the sending to Log Analytics workspace, so you can set alert later on. If you haven't got a Log Analytics workspace, please make one. Otherwise, this wouldn't be an option. So yeah. And just FYI, when you send these logs to Log Analytics workspace, it will be kept there for 30 days, provided you are using the standard subscription of Log Analytics workspace. If you have the premium Log Analytics workspace, you can extend that into longer. I think probably the maximum is like 900 days or so, if I don't have it wrong. Okay, so after you set this, you want to click Save. And from here, if you go back and you click the diagnostic settings again, you will see this one now pop up. Yeah. So what happened is from this day onwards, or this point onwards, your Data Factory will start sending logs into Log Analytics workspace. Now give about 15 minutes for that to start after you set this up, because it won't happen immediately. So give about 15-20 minutes for it to reflect in Log Analytics workspace. The next step is now to set up the alert. But before we do, I want to show you how we can interact with these logs. So from this screen, you want to go to the one below called Logs. And this is actually a view that is coming from Azure Monitor, although you're viewing it from Azure Data Factory resource here. And I've got a lot of templates ready to go. And this is basically all the potential alert templates that you can use. I'm just going to start with nothing. And if you've got your diagnostic setting set up properly and you've allowed maybe 15-20 minutes, and you make sure you run some pipelines as well, otherwise you won't have anything. You would see these here on the left here. And if I just pick one, just double click that one, it'll show this one. This is a very basic Kusto query language. I just drop that. If I run that one, Okay, within the last 24 hours, this is my time range here. I just said 24 hours. I've run a bunch of pipelines here. Now, if I want to make some more conditions to it or try different samples, maybe I'll try one of the queries that is ready to go. Maybe Diagnostic, say, within query. This is a template that is provided by Azure. Say if I click that one, PipelineRuns top 5 failures. So this is showing return top 5 pipelines failing with system errors. There are generally two different types of errors in DataFactory pipeline. One is the system error, the other one is a user error. User error is basically the ones that we cause ourselves. And I want to see all errors, so I'm just going to remove that bit. And time generated, I will keep that remove as well, so that I have control over it. So if I just click that one, now this is, I don't really like this query template that they provide because this is a bit confusing to read, and this is basically a summary of another set of query here. So the one at the top here is basically creating a variable called name that is sourced from values in this query, and the one below that is basically using that value from the top here, name here. It's a bit like SQL query actually. This is giving me, the result is giving me based on the time. This is the pipelines that failed basically, and this is the number of failure. Now this is very quick view about the Kusto query. Now I'm gonna actually create an alert, but I don't like this query, and I will use my own query which I've prepped before, and I will share this in the link description below. So I'll delete this, and I have this one that I have used ready to go, which I will explain in a bit. So I have this query that is basically, the first two lines here is creating a variable named pipelines coming from this ADFPipelineRun log, where status is failed and category is PipelineRuns. Yeah, this is picking up pipelines that failed basically. The second one is another setting a variable, but this is now looking at activities within pipelines. So ADFActivityRun, I want to see activity that failed, and the activity is not one of these. So I don't want to bother if the failed activity is an execute pipeline, which is executing pipeline from another pipeline. It's an if, or it's a ForEach pipeline, or sorry, activity. I don't care about this. I want the actual like copy failure, for example, or calling Databricks activity failure. And from here, I basically create a new variable here, joining the two, joining pipelines and activities above. We're doing an inner join here, activities based on run ID and PipelineRunId. And I project. Project is basically select. It's a bit like select in SQL query. And I'm basically showing, I'm doing a bit of a string manipulation here. I'm showing the time, pipeline name, activity name, run ID. I don't know what this is. I think this is just parameters that's coming from the hash. Not really important actually. The actual error message and start and end time. Order by time descending. If I run this, which I hope it works, it does, it'll give me this time, the DataFactory name, the pipeline name, activity name, and some nonsense, and also the failure error message, which is going to be useful. From here, we're now going to go to this new alert rule. Go to the screen, and if you put that query in the box before, this will automatically be included again. And you want to keep this as is. This is just basically measuring the results based on count, based on that table, and it will count the total number of records based on that query. And if it's what we want is if the count is later greater than 0, it will trigger an alert. So leave that count as is. The aggregation granularity is basically the count is done every 5-minute window. Split by dimensions. Now this is a way to categorize your alerts. So if you have DataFactory, if you have 3 different resource groups or different DataFactory, for example, and if you want to trigger alert if only one of those DataFactory has an issue, you can select the dimension here and you can actually choose DataFactory, and you can pick which DataFactory that you want to care about. This is like a filtering. This dimension is like a filtering. I don't care about this, so I just leave it blank. And greater than, you want to type more than 0 in here. And frequency of evaluation, this is basically how often the Azure monitor checks. And if there's a violation, if it meets the condition during this frequency, then it will trigger the alert. I just leave it every 5 minutes, basically, right? And next, I click Actions. And Action Group, this is basically what you want to do with the alert. And I want to send an email, right, to my email. So I'll create an action group because I have nothing. From there, I get this screen. I'll just create AG1. You can name it whatever you like. Notification is I want an email. You can actually email a AD group or AD role, my bad, as well. But I just stick with email. Let's say email 1 in here, email 1, and I just pick my own email. At the bottom here, there's an option to enable the common alert. There's actually a template of an alert that Azure or Microsoft provides, and generally the template is different for different kind of actions, and I just stick with common alert because I think it's good enough. So click yes. If you want to learn more, just click that learn more button as well. So I just click yes, and I have this one, and I just set that I don't care about text. I'll just review and create. Now from there, if I just back to this, now I have this new action group. If I click that one, click details. What's the detail of the alert? How critical it is? If it's life and death, and it's 0. Otherwise, maybe I'll go with number 1 alert 01 pass alert rule, and I will just stick with what I normally go with. Start running now, yes. Automatically resolve alert. Resolve when condition is not met. Yeah, leave that as is. Tags, and then I will review and create. Now from back to the logs page again, if you now click alerts on monitoring here on the left, don't worry about this. If you click this manage alert rules, now I have my alert. Status as enabled. Okay. What I'm going to do now is to run a pipeline that is going to fail. So I have this pipeline. I'm going to trigger it. Bear in mind, you need to trigger something, not to debug. So I will trigger something, and this will throw me a bunch of error, or one error at least. There you go. Give me my error. There's some error message here. Blah blah blah. Invalid object name because it doesn't actually exist. Okay. Now, because I actually set the frequency of evaluation every 5 minutes, I have to give this about 5, maybe 7 minutes before I actually get the alert. So until then, let's wait. Here I am in my Outlook inbox. I get a new email triggered from Azure because of that failed pipeline. As you can see, if you click it, you see the summary of the email. It's quite useful. Tells you what the alert name is that you set before, the severity, the resource in question, and also the alert details. And I think the nice thing about it is you can actually click the search results, which basically the results of the Kusto query language that you set before. And if you click this, it will take you to actually this view, and it will run that query for you, and it will tell you what the pipeline that failed and what the error message exactly is. Or if you fancy, you can just go back to DataFactory, and you know there's a failure, so you just go to monitor and you go and check what's wrong. Thanks very much for watching this video. And that's all for my video today about setting up alert in Azure Logs Analytics workspace as well as DataFactory. I hope you find this useful. If you like it, smash that like button, and also subscribe to my channel if you enjoy videos about data engineering, Microsoft Azure, or both. Till then, I'll see you there.